Hi everyone, welcome to the Immigration Q&A half hour, 5 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time, live here on TikTok and on Instagram for Thursdays to discuss immigration law and the questions that you have in this sphere. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi, managing attorney of the JQK immigration law firm and also professor of immigration law. And we come here, every day if you're on TikTok live. Immigration lawyer John is the handle, and just answer questions related to the immigration process that can be confusing. Now, these are just general ideas and educational information. It's not intended for individual legal advice, but hey, if you got some questions, toss them out. We'll see what we can do. I know there are a lot of questions because I get them every day. I know how complicated the situation is, and I'm here to kind of, help people a little bit, guide them into what direction they should be going at. Thank you for everyone who's joining. We have people trickling in. Just shoot out your questions if you have any. When it comes to questions about timelines, I'm probably going to skip over most of those because the reality is there are no reliable timelines in the immigration process nowadays. So you just have to be patient. But you can always go to uscis.gov and check the timelines there. So for example, we got Zind asks, I'm waiting for my husband's case to be approved, but they still didn't answer. Yes, you have to wait, unfortunately, until the answer is ready. If it's been years or something like that, you could try suing him. Or before that, you could try some complaints and stuff like that. But these things take time. Now, I don't know your individual case, whether it's at the U.S. Embassy or with USCIS. Each one has different ways to kind of push things forward. But sometimes the situation is you just have to wait and to see what happens. So that's the situation we're dealing with the immigration office. And, USCIS, the immigration office in the United States, had closed up. Zin asks, it's been 2 years. What kind of case is it, and who has the case right now, Zin, that's been holding it up for 2 years? Is it after the U.S. Embassy interview? Is it after a USCIS interview? Has an interview even happened with USCIS? Please provide some details because the information provided doesn't give me any picture as it is. But yeah, USCIS apparently allegedly was supposed to open up June 4th. Riots happened, so that got postponed a little bit. They are starting to slowly open things up, but their priority is with regards to U.S. citizenship. And so keep an eye on that. If you if you have a green card case, you did an interview, no decision, or your interview is postponed or rescheduled, you'll just have to wait when they're ready. Or if you're at the embassy, wait even longer. Zin says, Zin is with USCIS. Well, please clarify, have you had your interview yet? Are you a green card holder? You know what, be honest, there's just way too much things I need to know to be able to guide you here, Zin. So if you're really interested, schedule a consultation with my office and we can go into more detail and see where it's at that I give advice. Just note that there are consultation fees involved in my office. Hey Jerry, good to see you. Now, user 758 says, hi, what is the new news about asylum case? Well, news, they're apparently going to make the asylum process even more difficult and have higher standards for different aspects of asylum, Convention Against Torture, cancellation removal. These are processes where someone who's being deported and uses these defenses to be able to stay in the United States, essentially they're afraid to go back to their home country because they're going to get harmed. Those will be changing pretty soon. It's the exact details are not clear because we'll have to see how it comes, but that's about it. Hash asks, hi, do you take cases? Do you take case form VA? Do I take case from Virginia? Is that what you mean? Yeah, I can take cases from anywhere. Just email my office and we could do that. Zin says, not yet. The case approval took 2 years. We got married and I'm a green card holder. Yeah, if you're a green card holder, it takes longer. So Zin, just schedule consultation. It's probably normal waiting time that's going on here. So we'll see what's going on during a consultation. User 765 says, how about if you apply since 2016? This is regarding to asylum. I don't know if it's going to be retroactive or not, and which application you did with the asylum office or removal court. So this is very case specific. I won't be able to answer you right there. Kidwada on Instagram asks, when will we hear about the update about the immigration presidential proclamation, day 50 or 60? Well, they'll do it whenever, there's no date. Whenever they want to do it, they'll do it. There's a lot of rules that get broken in the current system, so you just have to kind of be patient to see what happens with that. This is regards to the proclamation, the immigrant visa ban that President Trump put into place, and that's supposed to be 60 days unless extended. We don't have any news on what exactly is going to happen with that. But essentially all the embassies are shut down. So let's say that trial ban didn't exist, so it still wouldn't make a difference because the embassies are not issuing visas at this time because they're closed. So the practical effect of what the president did is zero. Meets, thanks for sharing the current. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to get more updates on these videos. I'll ask, Your information is very helpful as always. How can we support you? Just let people know to join on TikTok so we have more followers. As long as they have questions popping up, and the main thing of me doing these live videos, ALAIL290, is that I have questions coming up to keep it lively. I don't, a lot of people do videos where they talk for a minute or two and they put it out there. I like the interaction. So as long as you guys are here with good questions, not questions about timelines, but about good questions, I'm excited to come do it every day forever, really. It's I love immigration law, I love talking about it. But that's it. Just have people follow so they can know and join and ask questions. That's about it. But thank you for your kind words and your offer of support. I appreciate that. Hash says, how long does it take for a citizen to get his wife and newborn here? We have to schedule a consultation to talk about that. Can he go visit another country like Canada while you're asylum? Okay, if you have asylum status in the United States, you got it. You have to apply for what's called the reentry permit. Once you have that reentry permit, you could file for a visa to go visit Canada. Canada has different kind of rules about how they handle people visiting from the United States, but I would contact Canada, their embassy, and see how they handle people with reentry permits. As long as you're not an asylee from Canada, which I doubt you would be, but as long as you didn't flee from there, yeah, you could use the refugee travel document based on being an asylee and go visit if you like. But you may need a visa, you may need some sort of travel permissions. You should contact the Canadian immigration authorities about that. Libas says they didn't open on June 4th. Yeah, so USCIS, the official date that they're starting the reopening was June 4th. But the reality is, the COVID-19 situation makes it impossible for the full staff to go there. Different cities and in different states in America not fully opened up. So even if they wanted to open nationally, the locality wouldn't allow it. So it's a slow opening is happening, primarily for naturalization and citizenship kind of cases and oath ceremonies. And I just had a client of mine do his oath ceremony yesterday and get his citizenship. And then eventually they're going to start rolling out the interviews for adjustment of status, eventually biometrics, but it varies and it's a slow process. It's not just they're opening up like that. But this is regards to in-person interaction. So they are processing cases if you mail it into them or if you're, get an RFE, you can respond. That kind of stuff's still happening. It's just interactions in person. Zin follows up and they've been asking about cases taking 2 years. My caseworker at the beginning told me that it cost $3,000, but now he wants $6,000. Why? I don't know, Zind. Your questions, unfortunately, are so case specific. This is not the forum for it. As I said, if you want to schedule a consultation to discuss it, just email my office. There is a consultation fee for my office, but email me and we could discuss it and remind me what the issues were. This is just not a place for a private discussion about your case in such a specific matter. Let's see. Hash, thank you. I will email you Office Monday. Thank you. I appreciate that. Kubash says, I applied for my B2 to study visa. This is a tourist visa holder changing status to become a student, F1. Now status is fingerprint free received since April. How long it take? I don't know. These things, though, there's no fixed time of how long it takes. It'll take however long it is. But you got to make sure you did it correctly by filing a B2 bridge extension as well. It's a little bit complicated. Hopefully you had a lawyer helping you. It's really easy to get a B2 to an F1 student visa denied, a tourist visa to a student visa. It's extremely easy to get that denied. Hopefully use an attorney that did the proper extension for your B2 for the courses that you have, and it keeps an eye on your I-20. These are kind of technical stuff, but make sure you hopefully keep an eye on that to avoid those kind of problems. User 758, thank you so much. Raj says, my grandfather had the USCIS interview scheduled, but it got canceled due to COVID. What's the status? Well, you just have to wait for that interview to be rescheduled. That's it. You have to be patient. Your grandfather has to be patient. Hush, you're very helpful. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. User 75, thanks for sharing the current feed. Raj asks, when will the flight resume? I don't know what flight you're talking about that will be resumed. Tag asks, the health workers work permit time now? Thanks. There is no health workers work permit, first of all, and second of all, timelines vary depending on the kind of case you have and how long ago. So there is no answer to that. Raj, international flights have not been canceled. They're happening, so I'm not sure what you're talking about. Labas says, I'm a green card holder. Can I take unemployment? If you lawfully earn, we're working and you request unemployment, it's not a problem as long as you don't lie about the unemployment or, commit some sort of fraud. As a green card holder, you can get unemployment. It doesn't have effect. It's not a public charge issue. You're welcome, Zin. User 7558 says, can asylum person bring husband from another country? If you're already married and you had filed for asylum and you got it, you should file for the derivative asylum status from I-731, I think it is. or once you get a green card, you file for a spousal green card. So it is possible to bring your spouse, but it depends on what part of the case the process is and the documents you have to submit. You should look into that. Mintusab asks, has Daca been updated? Not yet. We're waiting on the Supreme Court to make a decision, so we're still waiting on that. Hopefully it's a positive decision. We don't know, but they're holding off on making it. Live on Instagram, Negin says, hi, Mr. Khosravi. Do we know of German embassy interviewing any green card applicants at this point? No, there's no news on any embassies doing immigrant visa interviews at this point, or just visa interviews in general. There's probably going to be another month or two that'll happen, and it really depends on what's going on locally. Is COVID-19 an issue in that location? I don't know what's going on in Germany, but what I would say is, Negin, just visit the U.S. Embassy's website for Germany and check on that regularly. That's where they would make an announcement that their specific embassy or consulate is going to be opening up. So probably in a place like China, it's not going to open up for a while because there's a lot of personal politics, but there's also, the COVID-19 is stronger there. Maybe in Brazil, it's going to take longer to open up. Germany, maybe not. So you got to really check with the source, which is the U.S. Embassy, and they keep you updated on what's going on. That's the best way to do it. Suraj, thank you for following. I appreciate that. Let's see. Zin asks, one of my friends' case went to blacklist. How long her husband should wait to apply again? These questions you're asking, Zin, it's like, I have a mole on my back. Is this cancer? I don't know. These are kind of like all over the place. I would recommend your friend consult with an attorney in private. Mariam asks on Instagram, as a holder of a green card in the U.S., can I apply for a tourist visa for my parents who live in Iran now? Thank you very much. You wouldn't be applying for your family members. Everyone who applies for a visa in the United States, well, not everyone, if you're a worker it's different, but for a tourist visa, each person applies for their own tourist visa. So if your parents are interested in applying, they could file for their own tourist visa. It has nothing to do with you as being a citizen, a green card holder, or none of the above. They file for they apply for a tourist visa. Most likely it's going to be denied, honestly, from Iran, but they could always give it a shot. But there is a travel ban on Iranians, anyone, not Iranians, but anyone who's been in Iran in the last 2 weeks. So they would need to, before the interview happens, leave Iran, be outside for 2 weeks, then do the interview to show that they're away from Iran. Having said all that, the embassy is closed down right now, so there's no interviews to be had anyways for the next month or two. But we've got the core of that question is a common mistake people have, that they're applying for someone else to come as a tourist. That's not the case. Each person fills out their own form, DS-160. That's the application form for a tourist visa. Goes to their own interview and talks at the interview with that officer, and then they could come back here. There's no need to apply for someone else's tourist visa because it's not even possible. It's not a thing that's possible. Okay, so Sandy asks, Social Security office when open, sir? I don't know. You'll know better than I do. One problem there is the Social Security office is not functioning properly. So a lot of my clients who are getting work permits or green cards and not getting their Social Security number, and that's a big problem. But when it opens up Social Security office, I'm not God. I can't tell the future. So just check the website for the Social Security office, see what the government says. It's in their hands to tell us when these things are opening up. Akash asks, I was filing for my wife's 2019, and I received mail from USCIS visa process. Okay, I don't know what your question is, Akash, but hopefully it works out. Hash says, does unemployment affect if you apply wife and baby? So unemployment itself doesn't affect, but if you file for family members, you have to sign an affidavit of support later that shows you have income and assets to be able to support your family members. So if you're getting unemployment, that means you don't have income, so that lack of job is an issue, not the unemployment benefit itself. Not having a job becomes an issue in that kind of case. Minsa said, I filed I-360 and my Daca has been expired. Should I file for Daca? Unfortunately, if you're Daca, you did a big mistake by not renewing your Daca before it expired. Now that it's expired, they may or may not approve it. You're welcome, Mariam. Talk to a lawyer, but you should have filed for Daca, and if you haven't already, do it immediately. I mean, there's risks involved. They might deny it. It might be a waste of money. But typically, you shouldn't have let your Daca expire, deferred action for child arrivals. And the general recommendation is you file as soon as possible, apologize and say you messed up or something like that. Hopefully accept the case and renew it before the Supreme Court makes its decision, which is probably going to be negative. So you want to have that Daca that's valid for some time beforehand. Again, it was a big mistake to not renew it, but talk with a lawyer in private to see what the best is and do it immediately, like right now, get on top of it, like hang up the phone and go get it. It's that urgent. User 754 says, how about if you didn't get an interview and just engaged? Is there any way that could bring someone? Your question doesn't make sense, user 758. These kind of things, just schedule a consultation. Users have Thanks for your deal. You're welcome, Zin. Yusuf, I can asylum work in another country or study? What? If you have asylum here in the United States, another country is another country. They got their own rules. This questions don't make any sense to me. Can asylum change to business sponsorship? These questions don't make sense. You just have 5-8. If you need help, just consult with an attorney in private. Mitz asked a good question. They ask, who needs to file Form I-944? So Form I-944 is a special form that was created by President Trump's administration that came into place after February 20th, 2020. And this is part of the harder version of the public charge rule. So 140 years ago, they made this initial immigration rule that said public charge. We don't want people that are going to come here who can't take care of themselves, can't feed themselves, can't pay for themselves, can't house themselves. So if we're worried about that, we're not going to let you in the United States. They're pretty lenient on this issue up until recently. And Trump said, no, we want to make sure people who come here are vetted so that we know they can support themselves. They speak English, they have education, they have work skills, they have health insurance, they have good credit, they have low debts, they have good assets, all this kind of stuff and more. And that's what Form I-944, what's it called, Declaration of Self-Sufficiency is all about. Now, who needs to file it? Almost everyone who's filing for adjustment of status, the application for a green card from within the United States, has to use Form I-944. There are exceptions, and you can find the exceptions on the instructions for Form I-944. One exception are people who are winners of the diversity visa green card lottery, I believe. No, I think they have to do it nonetheless. So the exceptions are very rare. Who are the exceptions? They're so rare, the exceptions for the I-944, that I can't even, I don't want to go into it here, but you can find on the instructions who they are. Chances are you're going to need one. So be prepared for that, and just review the instructions. Again, it's very rare, these small categories. For example, if you had asylum, the public charge rules don't apply to you. So I-944 is not required for a person who had asylum and is applying for a green card. So that's a big one. But other than that, there are like these little tiny exceptions that's not worth going to here. It doesn't apply to many people. Nagin follows up, sorry, another quick question on Instagram. According to Trump's recent executive order regarding people obtaining public help, like medical, are they eligible to file for naturalization, or are they getting denied? Well, it depends on what kind of public health you got and what you said when you got it. So one issue that they're starting to crack down on, which they hadn't historically, is if you applied for some sort of government benefit like government-funded healthcare, Medicare, Medicaid, that kind of stuff. In that application, they ask you how much money you make, and if you don't make enough, they'll give you free healthcare. However, if you obtain your green card based on having a family member apply to you, for example, your brother applied for your green card, you got a green card, and then you come to the United States, you're not making enough money, so you apply for free healthcare, that becomes a problem because when you apply for free healthcare, you have to make not enough money. But in that application, when they ask you how much you make, you're supposed to include the income that comes from your brother, because your brother signed an affidavit of support, a promise that your brother is going to be supporting you financially, so you won't have issues of money where you'll need free healthcare from the government. Historically, they never enforced this, but you're seeing people who apply for food stamps, for federal housing benefits, for federal health insurance benefits, and the like, and not included the sponsor's income as their income, and so their income was low in that way, getting the benefit. They're looking at that as potentially being fraud, and that's what issue that is going to be popping up. I heard it pop up recently at naturalization, at the citizenship stage, so that's something to watch out for. But on its own, it depends on what kind of medical you got. There are exceptions. Some emergency medicals are okay. There's a lot of nuances to this, so we have to see what you did exactly, what you said, and take it from there. That's the best advice I can give you on that, Niggy. Okay, so Hash, thank you. You're welcome for thank you for kind words. Live asks, when you come to the United States by F4 visa, when can you apply for citizenship? So it doesn't matter if you come on an F4, F1, F2. Once you get a green card, unless you've been married and living with a U.S. citizen, which is an exception, you can start applying for a green card 4 years and 9 months after the green card is issued. However, there's more conditions to that. It depends on how much time you spent in the United States. You're welcome, Nikki. It depends on what kind of absences you had. Have you had good moral character? Have you paid taxes? Have you stayed away from criminal activity? So there's a lot of things you have to review, but if you're just looking at the earliest time, everything's perfect, 4 years and 9 months after filing, getting the green card issued, and you look at the issue date on the green card itself, that's when you can start. But there's more requirements. For example, you have to have been in the state that you're living in for the last 3 months. So you can't just move and apply for citizenship. If you move to a different state, you have to wait 3 months before you can apply. I had someone who called me recently who didn't realize that, and the case got denied. It was a really bogus, like unnecessary reason to get denied. These are the kind of reasons you want to consult with an immigration attorney. There's so many little things that could get you in these kind of cases. But again, your category of which visa category you got doesn't matter. If you had a green card and you've done everything properly, 4 years and 9 months is when you can apply. Okay, Gemwell asks, I'm a green card holder. Can I petition my brother? No, you have to be a U.S. citizen to be able to apply for a sibling, a brother or sister. Green card holders cannot do that. Green card holders could file for their spouses, children and under 21, and children above 21 that are unmarried, single. If they get married, the case dissolves. The rest application family types that exist are for U.S. citizen type relatives. Relatives, U.S. citizens. Hash asks, what if someone else co-signed and I don't have a job for the current time? It is possible to get a joint sponsor when you're applying for a relative or family-based green card. They got more strict on this. It depends on how things look. I'd have to review the whole case to advise on this. This new public charge rule that came into place causes the officers to analyze the case more. So even if you have a joint sponsor, they'll say, well, how likely is it that joint sponsor is going to support you if you're unemployed? Your family's going to come here, the joint sponsor might be like, screw it, I'm not going to help you, and then all of a sudden you can't afford anything, you don't have a job. And they're pushing them to make this kind of judgment, whereas they didn't before. So when you're asking these kind of stuff, I need to know about your whole life, your work experience, your spouse's work experience, their level of English, their education. I need to see a whole picture and just give you general ideas of how things are going to look, because that's how the future looks right now. So this is a lot of case-specific individual guidance that you need. If you'd like to schedule a time, please email my office. There is a fee, depending on whether half an hour, 1 hour, or longer consultation is needed. But feel free to contact other firms as well. Many have free consultations. Just talk with several people to get different advices. One thing you'll see, if you talk to 5 or 10 immigration lawyers, you'll get 5 or 10 different answers. It's a very complex field of law. Experiences vary, so you'll get different answers. So it's good to talk with several people. Not everyone knows what they're talking about, or they might know one area really well and not another. Akash says, I received mail from USCIS that you filed in visa process. Can you tell me what's up next? Akash, your description of what happened is not clear at all. Please just schedule a consultation to talk about it. There's a lot I would need to know to be able to advise you on that. Again, your question is not clear. User 75 says, can I have a consultation with you, please? Yes, please email my office, info@jqqlaw.com, info@jqqlaw.com. You're on TikTok. If you go to my profile page, there's a link that gives access to all my social media, my Yelp reviews, my website, and I'll contact all that kind of stuff. And let me know and briefly describe the immigration issue that you have to remind me what it is, and I'll let you know if it's the kind of case I handle, and if it is, how much the consultation fee is for that kind of case. Sarah says, everybody can apply student. There is age. There is no age limit. The question is there an age limit to apply for a student visa? There is no age limit, but an officer is going to judge you. If you're 85 and asking for a student visa, they may think you're just coming here to use U.S. benefits or something. Or you might be a professor who wants to get more education. It really depends on their personal circumstances. And that's it. They're going to judge you. The person's going to interview you and say, is this person really coming to the U.S. to study and then go back home? Or are they using the student visa as an excuse to just enter the United States and stay there? So it depends on your individual circumstances, and at the end of the day, the judgment of the officer who's going to be talking with you. So we got to see what's going on there, and that's that. But there's no age limit. There's no age discrimination in that way. Mr. Rules asks, got different addresses on licenses and also on petition. Supposed to go to interview on 18th of April. I don't know what to tell you. I have to see your documents exactly what you did that has all these different addresses. I don't know what to tell you, Mr. Rules. You should have had everything together. I'm not sure what's going on, but just schedule a consultation if you want to go, if you want to talk about it. Okay, user 819 says, is there anything I can do to get my green card if I'm on Daca and not wanting to get married? These are general questions. That maybe there's something you do, maybe you can't, but this is something that's just too big a thing. Please, you have to be more specific for an issue that you have. This is just a general question that we can't answer here. Farhad asks, anybody don't know English can apply? I think you're asking if you don't speak English, can you apply for citizenship? There are exceptions for people that had a green card for a long time, have lived in the United States for a long time, and also exceptions for people who have some sort of sickness or mental issue that prevents them from learning English. Those are hard requirements, so essentially you will need to be able to speak English and answer questions at the interview. That is a requirement. Knowledge and ability to communicate in English, it is. Some officers are more strict than others, but I would just practice English and learn the language of the land. It's going to help you personally anyway, so it's a benefit to you. Kiwad asks on Instagram, is it still possible to obtain Esta with criminal record, drunk driving conviction 5 years ago, also in process for K1? I think the Esta asks about criminal history. I don't think you can. I'm probably going to get denied. I can't remember exactly, but I think a DUI is serious enough that the Esta application will get denied. Just one DUI won't be a problem for a K1. I mean, it depends on the officer, but you do need to get the full record of it, an original copy, certified copy of that record. Karin asks, I wanted to become a U.S. citizen, but I don't work. I'm staying at home. Mom, does that affect becoming a U.S. citizen? Depend on my husband? No, not at all. You don't have to be employed. You don't have to make an income for U.S. citizenship. The things they're worried about is, are you a drunk? Are you a criminal? Do you pay your taxes? Have you spent too much time outside the United States? It's those kind of stuff that they're looking for. Being unemployed, it's right now it's COVID-19. A lot of people are unemployed. That's not a big deal. It's understandable. So look into it in more detail, but I wouldn't be afraid for that reason to not apply for U.S. citizenship. Farhad Fly High Chris says, thank you for your help. My kids are staying in USA more than 5 years. Can I apply their social security number? Just being in the United States doesn't give you the ability to file for a social security number, so I'm not sure what's going on there. And if they overstay, they violate their status. So I don't know what's going on with your case, Fly High Chris. Chris, just consult with immigration in private to see what's going on. You're welcome, Jem William. Appreciate that. And Miss, thank you for sharing the live. Thank you everyone who's joining. User 758, is there any change or decision about F1 visa? There's rumors that they're going to shut down the student visa, or they're going to change OPT, the training period you can get after you graduate. But these are all rumors, and I only like talking about facts. I've seen a lot of people on YouTube get a lot of views, for example, talking about rumors. What if this happened? What if that's happened? But what's the point about talking about rumors if they're not going to happen? I say just when the things happen, we'll talk about it and we'll see what happens. Just do your life as it is. Many times, you're waiting for a rumor to happen. It doesn't happen. And you realize you wasted so much time, and so that's a sad way. You're welcome, Karina. Fly Chris, parents have social security number, kids stayed more, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, NFR Hard, you asked that already. Leba says, is F2A visa restricted in an executive order? Yes, it is actually. So if an F2A, it depends on if you had the visa accepted. So there's different executive orders. They're travel bans. One is if you visited certain countries in the last 2 weeks, you're banned from coming in if you don't have a green card. But the immigrant visa travel ban was really annoying because usually when they do a travel ban, they make exceptions for like spouses and children of U.S. citizens and spouses of children of green card holders. This time they didn't do that. So if you're a minor child of a green card holder, that ban will apply to you until it's lifted for getting the immigrant visa. So it does apply for children of green card holders, unfortunately. F2A is a minor child. I'm sorry. F2B is a minor child. F2A is a spouse of a green card holder, but that applies to you as well. So in general, the F2A, F2B are spouses or adult children of green card holders. F2A, let me back that up. F2A includes both spouses of green card holders and minor children of green card holders. F2B is adult children of green card holders. So F2A, whether you're a kid of a green card holder or spouse, the current travel ban for immigrant visas does apply to them. So if the embassies were opened up and they got an interview, they would not issue the immigrant visa until this ban is lifted. It'll just be in a hold position. Unfortunately, that is the case. There are other exceptions, so we got to see what's going on with all that. So you might have another child that is a U.S. citizen that your spouse could come on there, for example. There's nuances to this. So this general information I give, again, it's just general. When we dig down your case, sometimes you can find some exceptions. There might be that your spouse is an essential worker, and having them, they're a doctor, for example, they're a nurse, and they may make an exception for that. So there's a lot going on there that could be done, and just saying a quick thing, and this is why people call me and they want quick answers, it doesn't work that way. And the job of a lawyer is to dig deep and to see what can we do, what can we push things and see where we can get something in. And that's why it's important to consult with immigration in private. It takes time to do this kind of stuff. It's like painting a painting. You can't just paint a painting, a nice painting, in 2 seconds. You got to sit, analyze it, think about it, and, practice your paint, practice the brush, all this kind of stuff. And it's the same here. I really need to know about you, your background, your family's background, to see what's going on and how we can make it work if possible. It's not guaranteed it's going to happen, but that's what we need to do here. But in general, F2As are restricted, but it might not apply to you. Okay, wow, the 30 minutes ran pretty quick for today. So I'll ask a couple more questions and then we'll be done for today. Judito asks, immigration sent me a letter saying I have to do my fingerprint. Is immigration over for that? No, they shut down. Depends on when you got the letter, because they're starting to reopen biometrics. So if you just got it today, maybe it does work. If you got it months ago, no. You know, just call USCIS, the 1-800 number. It's on the bottom left of the paper that you have, just to confirm that's the way to do it. That's the safest way to do it. Midas, my appointment I-130 is now at NBC. Is there any expiration date before filing DS-260 for my wife and kids? There may be expiration dates depending when it... There's a lot going on here we don't have time to go into. I'm sorry, Midas, you have to call it a day, but I would need to talk to you about how old your children are, about the payment processing. There's a lot of nuances to whether it's not exactly an expiration date, but it could be. I would just say consult a lawyer in private. It gets into a lot of stuff. I know we got a lot of questions that piled up today. It was a good group that joined. I appreciate everyone who did, but come back tomorrow. It's a Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to be here on TikTok again, Immigration Lawyer John, and tomorrow it's going to be on Facebook, JQK Law Firm, and the video for today is going to be on YouTube and on Facebook, and parts of it on Instagram and on LinkedIn. It's going to be everywhere, so please join and come back tomorrow, and we'll go back to your questions, the ones that we can answer here. Thank you so much for coming. A really good, consistent flow of questions, and I want to be thorough in answering, so unfortunately we didn't get to everybody, but again, I'm here tomorrow. I'll be here Monday, Tuesday. I'll be back. God bless everybody. Be safe, and hope to see you all soon. Bye-bye.